Looking at fraud and where people can really get head up, where are the key issues that you're finding and whereabouts? I mean, you've spoken about Namibia, but what are the key kind of forms of gambling where real criminal activity and where people can get ripped off? And what warnings do you have?
Look, as it stands now, online gambling, it's illegal. Okay, and that's where there's loopholes in terms of money laundering, which is one of the subjects that will be discussed at length during the event. Money laundering, terrorism, financing, which again, that is fueled by illegal side of gambling.
Hold on, terrorism. What's that about? That's crazy.
It needs to be financed.
Yeah.
So it needs to be financed. There has to be funds that it needs to be financed. It needs to be financed. So
Yeah.
it's from illicit money transfers that takes place. So again, if it's illegal, if it's not regulated, it can be used to launder money.
Now, sorry, linking gambling with terrorism. Explain. That's fascinating.
Look, it's not just within gambling. It's within other industries as well. If it's not regulated, there'll be illicit transfer of money because it's going to be used for laundering money. And laundered money can go anywhere. It can go to finance anything, any other negativity we see around.
So someone's going to be talking about this at your event. What are the key things they're going to be talking about around funding terrorism?
Look, it's not about funding terrorism.
Yeah.
It's about money laundering and
Yeah.
what potential of uses for that kind of money. It could finance illegal activity. I mean, I was listening. I know I'm digressing now.
Sure.
But I was listening to the problem that we have. I mean, there was a conference not long ago
Okay.
that was looking at illicit trading.
Okay.
What fuels that? They were talking about cigarettes. So you never know where that money goes, or fake cigarettes that are made illegally. If it's not
So this
regulated.
Ndaba really looks at that overall policy level around Africa and how we and all the issues that are in there, and one of them is the illegal funding of terrorist organizations.
It's illegal gambling and where that money potentially goes
Yeah.
if we leave it unregulated. So in areas where it's not regulated, there is that potential and risk of money funding illegal activities, any illegal activities.
And so, Percy, would you say that the gambling industry overall is just way too unregulated at the moment?
No, it's highly regulated
okay.
in South Africa.
Yeah.
It's one of the well-regulated industries in the world in
Okay.
South Africa.
But I'm talking about Africa as a whole.
Africa as a whole, other countries are others not that much. But it's now we want to create an environment where there could be an exchange of ideas and facilitate trade amongst African countries on within the gambling space.
Yeah, that would be very important.
Yeah, yeah.
And in terms of gambling, what are the benefits as an entrepreneur?
Like any other industry, there's opportunities within the industry, but I think based on past experiences and the negative impact that it's driven or fueled by the illegal side, people look at gambling in its entirety as a bad thing.
Okay.
But again, if it's not regulated, that's where you start getting problems.
Sure.
But the industry, I mean, if you look at the City ICC where the Indaba is going to be held, those are proceeds from gambling. It was one of the licensing conditions that if you need a license, you have to contribute to infrastructure development. There's going to be a panel that will from various establishments, Sun International, Yotsogo-san, Pumelela, the Lotteries Board, where there'll be a prize for the best CSI project. So we're going to be looking at those things because the regulated industry brings about jobs. It contributes to the fiscus in a big way. Jobs, fiscus, infrastructure development. You go to Langeban, there's roads. You go to what's this place up the road? If you're going out of Cape Town, part of the licensing conditions was they have to build a road, public road used by people who don't even do gambling. Sure. But it's infrastructure. You go other provinces as well. Similar thing. You need a license to operate in this industry. These are the conditions attached to that. So there's lots that the industry contributes back, the regulated one that is.
I tend to stay away from gambling because I always lose at the end of the day. But some people love gambling and actually can lose their entire livelihoods and their house and their cars. What's the focus on responsible gambling?
Look, we've got a very good relationship, with responsible gambling. The industry has got a very good relationship. The industry itself, it was not a regulation from government. or from regulators, the industry itself set up a contribution from their revenue to contribute towards national responsible gambling. The industry itself funds the national responsible gambling as an organization. They fund it to make sure that people are protected. If you look at the population, there's been stats that have been bandied around in terms of research done by the CASA and the National Responsible. If you look at the population, less than 2% of people are negatively affected by gambling, and that number is on the decline because of the projects that they're doing, work that they're doing around people that maybe institutions suspect that they are affected by gambling. There is also a regulation to ban people from casino or establishments if there's any suspicion that they are affected negatively by gambling, and they get free counseling from the National Responsible Gambling.
The motto of your event is taking the gamble out of gambling. What does that mean?
I think it's demystifying gambling it's in its entirety, because most people, they hear gambling, they think, whoa, no. But and in their mind, they're thinking more of the illegal gambling. So we want to make sure that gambling, it's seen for what it's doing to the economy in general. It's contributing positively through jobs, job creation, through various economic spins like we've discussed just now, infrastructure development. We want it to be seen for what it's really doing to the economy at large. Yeah.